This edition of Bringing the Heat podcast is brought to you by our sponsors at Train on Main. You can go visit them at 427 Main Street, Stroudsburg, PA, and go ask for Dan. Summer is right around the corner. You want to get your beach body ready. Dan is the guy to see. He will set you up with a program, a routine, and work with you one-on-one. Train on Main is a true gym that works with a one-on-one setting, and you'll really enjoy your time there. You can also check them out on Instagram at TrainOnMain427. That's at TrainOnMain427. This episode is also brought to you by our newest sponsors, Thrive Fantasy. Thrive Fantasy is a new DFS app for prop bets. They have streamlined the drafting process and eliminated the need to do unnecessary hours of research by using only top-tier athletes. Instead of the traditional salary cap format, you build your lineup around a list of prop bets. For each contest, you need to choose 10 of the 20 prop bets, plus 2 ice picks that protect you from any late scratches or postponed games. Each unique prop has an over and an under point value assigned to it, and you will be rewarded that point value if that prop is correct. For example, will Mookie Betts have under or over 1.5 RBIs? The less likely the prop is to occur, the more points the choice will be worth, and you build your team score around the amount of correct props you select. So go check out Thrive Fantasy. You can download their app on your phone, and when you sign up, use the promo code BRINGTHEHEAT. That is BRINGTHEHEAT. All together, Bring the Heat. Use that promo code, deposit $10, and Thrive Fantasy will match your deposit of up to $10. So you will have $20 to play with when you gamble next. So let's get into the action. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bringing the Heat podcast. And guess what just happened? I got one of the founders of Bringing the Heat back with me. Luke, what is going on?
Got the band back together. What is going on?
A lot has happened since you've been gone. Have you missed it?
I have, actually, yeah. You can cue the Kelly Clarkson Since You've Been Gone solo right now.
So, I mean, I'm just sitting here like old time's sakes. I had a healthy dinner, and I followed it up with a nice German beer. Kostritzer.
Oh, that one that Master Splinter had, huh?
Yeah. So, old time's sakes, I figured I had to pull out a brew for that's what we used to do. Every one.
Yes, sir.
So, This episode though, and first off, welcome back. You're going to be, with me from now on. So he's the one that applied and
I'm here.
And won the job back.
Oh yeah.
But so we had some baseball stuff to talk about in UFC, but we're going to push that off because
a lot has happened today.
Yeah, I mean the NFL, for those of you that have paid attention, is just blowing up. I mean, all day at work today, I'm refreshing Twitter like every 5 seconds. And, I'm a little upset that the Le'Veon Bell saga hasn't ended because I really wanted to talk about it. But, I just got breaking news.
What's that?
The Bears signed Cordero Patterson. Awesome.
So now you have 2 studs that can return the ball.
Yeah, but I'm surprised by that. I didn't see them signing him, but so anyway, breaking news for the Bears, Cordero Patterson to the Bears. But I was hoping that the Le'Veon Bell saga was kind of over so we could talk about it. Maybe by the end of this podcast we'll have something, but I thought for sure from all the rumblings I was hearing it was going to be over.
We had quite an eventful day, and I'm sure we're going to get into that with just Le'Veon Bell. So.
Yeah. So first thing I want to go into, and this isn't going to be just Bears or Giants talk. I mean, we have a bunch of stuff, but the first thing on my list, which has nothing to do with the trades that happened today, but the Bears are looking to trade Jordan Howard, which we've talked about. I've said it in previous podcasts, but it's no secret the Bears want an upgrade per se at running back due to Jordan Howard's inability to really acclimate to that offense. So, that's when the Le'Veon Bell thing comes in. Are they really players for Le'Veon Bell?
Well, after what they did today with, moving some money around to fit Khalil Mack's signing bonus and everything like that to make some more cap room, I could see them as possible players. But like me and you have been spitballing back and forth on Twitter saying, I really think Tevin Coleman's probably the best fit there.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And they did make a head scratching signing with Mike Davis, the running back from Seattle. Who I like. I think he's a good running back, but
he's not bad. Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think he's very similar to Howard, though. I mean, maybe he's a little bit more versatile, but he's not a small back. And I'm a guy that, Jordan Howard was the player that got us Bears fans. He was like the only offensive weapon that actually made you kind of excited to watch the Bears when they were going through that rough patch his rookie year. And so, I don't know. It'll be a little sad to see him go, but I will agree they need an upgrade at that position. And Tariq Cohen is I don't think he's big enough to handle the ball every down. So
what it is, I think they're going to try to do what, Nagy had success with in Kansas City. They have a back for 1 to 2 downs and then a third down back. Like when Kareem Hunt, before he was like a known commodity in the league, before he kicked a woman in the head, he was, a first down, second down back, and then they would bring in whoever else. He wasn't a 3-down back all the time.
Yeah, I agree, and that's kind of what they try to do with Howard and Cohen, but the Bears, Howard's a decent between the tackles guy, but he just doesn't fit that offense. He's just, if he's in on first and second down, they're running the ball, and then when Cohen comes in, they're passing the ball, so it becomes too predictable.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the league's just getting too fast for guys that are running the ball like Jordan Howard, especially that offense, that style. If that Saquon Barkley, it'd be different.
Yeah, and they have, look at every player on that Bears offense. They're all fast. Trubisky's fast. Allen Robinson's their number one big-time red zone threat, and he's fast. All their skill positions are fast. Even, Trey Burton is a smaller, quicker tight end.
Yeah.
So,
and, he started off slow last year, but he came around towards the end of the season, and he was one of the more favored targets.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so, that I don't want to go too much into that because it hasn't happened yet. They could very well miss on, all these backs and, not get rid of him right away. We'll see what they do in the draft as well. They don't have a pick to the third round. So, but the Bears, I will say, out of all the teams in the NFL, I would say the Bears are one of the better teams at drafting, middle to late rounds. We've seen it with Jordan Howard, Eddie Jackson, Amos,
just signed with the Packers.
Yep, he got emotional with signing with the Packers because he really loves Chicago. But, and we'll get into that too. I don't want to go. I have my list here. I want to stick to the list, but we'll get into that. So this is all older stuff that's happened as well that, we skipped an episode, so we got a ton to talk about. But Case Keenum goes to the Redskins.
Oh, man. The Redskins are just as bad as the Broncos.
Dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire. They keep trying to salvage, a quarterback that's on the last legs of his career and plug him into a starting situation.
I can't say I hate Keenum. I've always been a Keenum fan, but
I hate him either.
But I think the Redskins definitely have to draft a quarterback. There's going to be a quarterback there when they pick, and I think they have to draft one. I think, I like Drew Lock, I like Daniel Jones, I like Haskins. Those are my three guys. My dad is a Redskins fan, and he likes Will Greer. He thinks they should get.
His stock fell so far.
I know, but my dad thinks they could get him in the second round.
He's gonna go further than that.
So, but yeah, I think that the Redskins, ultimately they wanted to get a quarterback that they know if they didn't draft anybody good could salvage a couple wins for them, and that's not Josh Johnson, and that's not Mark Sanchez. So, and it's not Colt McCoy. So I think Case Keenum, at least, I'm not going to say he's as good as Alex Smith, but he's better than their other options. So they at least have someone there.
For Josh Johnson, because he was drafted into the AAF, and I know you guys have touched up on this in, my time off. But he was drafted as like the first quarterback in the quarterback draft for that league for San Diego Fleet. And then literally the next day, he got signed to the Washington Redskins. Now he's going to be without a job again.
I think he'll go back to the Fleet. The Fleet is not filled with good quarterbacks.
Yeah. Are they talking about him coming back, or what? I don't even know what's going on with that.
I'm not really sure what the status is, but I mean, Johnny Manziel's getting a job, and I'm sorry, I think Josh Johnson at this point is better than Johnny Manziel because
honestly, I thought Josh Johnson performed pretty well.
He did.
For the situation he was in.
He did not play bad. So again, and he was a guy that didn't play a game for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Which is even more impressive. So, I'm not gonna totally bash the Redskins for the Keenum thing because they didn't really give up a lot for him. I think they only gave up one pick. So I mean, and it was a late round pick, like 6th round pick. But at some point the Redskins have to either totally rebuild or commit to something. And it's weird because it's like they didn't re-sign any of their own guys, but then they go out and, again, I don't want to get too far ahead, but Landon Collins gets monster money. So it's like, what are you doing? Are you rebuilding, or are they playing devil's advocate, or are they going out and just stealing Collins because he was a Giant? So it's like, figure it out what you're doing.
The Redskins have been like this exact way ever since me and you have been alive. When they first had Gibb as the head coach, and then Michael Shanahan, and then Gibb again,
Well, it went Gibbs. I think it went Gibbs, Zorn, Gibbs, Shanahan.
Zorn, and then Shanahan, then back to Gibbs again.
So yeah, something like that. I mean,
but they've always done this. They've always put like Band-Aids on a severe cut,
And I think Gruden is a good coach to do as well as they did last year with the amount of injuries they had was, in my eyes, pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. But you're literally signing him up to fail. Like, he's going to do bad this year, and he's going to get fired. And
well, dude, they just lost Preston Smith, an outside linebacker of theirs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, they lost Jamison Crowder.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Redskins continue to become more and more of a dumpster fire.
But speaking of Landon, how they gave him 6 years and $86 million, and the Giants couldn't even match that, I don't know. So
we're going to get into the Giants here. The Giants traded Olivier Vernon for Zietler. Now, I will say that is a great trade.
Dude. Olivier Vernon, way overpaid. At the time, I think it was a good contract that Jerry Reese did. Yes. That is what they needed. He was the top pass rusher in the free agency at that time. Has he performed up to that money? No. He's been injured almost half the season. He's missed about half the games in those 3 years he's been with the Giants. And Kevin Zeitler is a top guard in the NFL.
Yeah.
I've liked him ever since his days in Cincinnati.
That was honestly like, there was no losing that trade for the Giants. They 100. I give that trade an A+. Because,
I would too.
Because the Giants, one of their biggest holes on their team has been their offensive line, and they addressed that with that trade and a guard position nonetheless. And they got a good one, and they shed salary cap basically with trading Vernon as well.
$5 million they opened up.
Yeah, and Vernon never plays. Like, when he played, I think he played decent. Did he play as well as the contracts, as well as he should have based on his contract? No, but he didn't play.
I'm not going to say he performed poorly. He did well in certain aspects of the game. He did extremely well in stopping the run. Him and Snacks stopped the run almost to like 0 yards almost. I'm over-exaggerating, but those two guys, they were awesome at it. But he couldn't rush the quarterback, and he didn't do well in pass coverage. He's playing out of position. He is a true 4-3 defensive end, but they had him playing outside linebacker in a 3-4 defense.
Yeah. And, I think, I don't know, like, it's just we see a lot of these contracts nowadays. The guys just are not panning out. And a lot of times it is defensive players as well.
We can go back to Albert Hainsworth for the Redskins, bro. They signed him to like $100 million, and he didn't even pass the physical late, and the conditioning test he failed too.
Yeah, I mean it's because defense is so important, and it's just not those guys. And it's we play football as a game now where it's all about schemes. You literally it's so important that Madden implemented it into its video game.
Exactly.
It's all about schemes.
It used to just be playbooks, but now it's like, what type of linebacker is this guy? What type of defensive end is this guy? It's crazy. But that's how the game is evolving.
So, moving on to more stuff. Now, we're not breaking this down by team. We're just going by our list, basically in chronological order when it all happened. Yeah. So, Antonio Brown is a Raider now, and the Steelers are in a mess. So
John Gruden fleeced the Steelers, a 3rd and a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
For Antonio Brown. I know he's 30 already, but he's still performing at an elite level. Whether he's the number 1 receiver or not, however you look at it, between him, Odell, and Julio, and maybe even Mike Evans, he's still up there. He's in that top tier.
6 straight 1,200 yards receiving seasons.
Yeah.
6 straight. Now, how that doesn't get a first-round pick, it does not matter what offense you play in. Antonio Brown is a generational receiver. He is in that top 3 receivers in football right now. He's a guy that can, he might not be the fastest receiver or the biggest, but his footwork is great. He dusts corners. He works corners. His footwork is insane. He can play in any offense. And the fact that not even a 2nd-round pick, a 3rd and a 5th or third and 5th, right?
Bad.
That's horrible. And so, I had some people on Twitter who are Steelers fans. You have a right to be mad. If you're a Steelers fan, I would be fuming. In my eyes, that's almost like the Bears trading Khalil Mack for a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah.
At this point,
after they just gave up 2 first rounds in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, that would be such a lose. And, not only do they lose, Antonio Brown and the Raiders are weird too, but I'll get to that in a second. But they also lose Le'Veon. We don't know where he's going yet, but they lose him. They traded, who was the lineman they traded?
Foster.
Yeah, they trade Foster, who, and they lose Jesse James at tight end. Mm-hmm. So I don't, the Steelers in my eyes are going to be, they're going to struggle. I honestly don't see anyone in that division being tough other than the Browns.
Dude, the Browns, man. John Dorsey knows what he's doing. He's building something over there.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so, and then basically what I was saying about the Raiders is the Raiders got AB, which is great. I like it. But it's weird because they traded Cooper. All right, Cooper wasn't fitting. I think it's more Carr, in my honest opinion, but Cooper wasn't working. And then, so they get Brown, but then they trade Assembly.
Yeah, that was a straight cap move because they were going to cut him if they couldn't find a suitor. That would have shaved off $10 million, and they wanted to give Antonio Brown, they wanted to secure him and then leave some room to possibly sign Le'Veon Bell. That's just going off the reports I've read from Bleach Report, ESPN, all those guys. They seem to mesh in those exact reports. But going back to Antonio Brown real quick, you mentioned that he had 6 years of 1,200 yards receiving in a row, and everybody's so quick. There's some Steelers fans that are just so quick to cut him off already. Oh, he's gone. He wanted to leave. He checked out. We got Juju. We have Juju. Juju Smith, he capitalized off of Antonio Brown being double-teamed the last 2 seasons.
I would agree, yes.
100%. So this guy was double-teamed all of the last 2 seasons, Antonio Brown, and he's still at 1,200 yards receiving. And
I'm pretty sure Juju was almost non-existent in that last game, and why was that? Antonio Brown didn't play.
Exactly. He got smothered. So if they're like, oh, we're on the up and up, we got Washington and Juju Smith, he was nowhere to be found when Antonio was not on that field.
I would say that without a doubt, Bell was expendable because I think Connor is good. But
yes.
I would definitely say Brown. When you have a player of that caliber, that it's not easy to get rid of them.
Yeah, I think running back is easier to replace than it is to find a generational talent in receiver.
And I hate to bring up the Bears all the time, but look at the Bears. It's like every time they have a good running back, they're a guy that's drafted late in the draft. You know?
But look at when they got rid of Alshon Jeffrey. They're still recovering.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate Alshon because I think he's a douche, but it's true. I think Robinson's good. I don't think he's as good as Alshon Jeffrey is, though.
Yeah. I definitely think now, like speaking of it, I've never said this before, but I'm coming to the realization that wide receiver is a more important position than running back.
Well, they can win you games. I mean, the Tampa Bay isn't the best team, but when Mike Evans plays, he's going to catch the ball and go for over 100 yards and probably a touchdown.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, and especially in a league now where it's literally all air raid offenses. That's all it is.
The running back position in the NFL, that it is a revolving door
Mm-hmm.
in a hotel. Every week it's a new guy, man.
Well, you literally just run the guy into the ground for his rookie contract, and then you get rid of him.
Yeah, and I really hope that's not what's happening to Saquon Barkley, but the moves they're making, man, the Giants, that's what it's looking like. So,
I mean, how many times did he touch the ball a game? A ton.
At least 35, because he would have 25 rushes and then 10 catches.
Yeah, so, I mean, it could very well happen. Now, I'll say Saquon is also a generational athlete, though. Like, the way he keeps care of himself, like, I mean, look at Zeke. Like, I know Zeke's only been in the league, 3 years, but, I mean, he touches the ball how much, and he doesn't seem to be slowing down.
Yeah, just my name's Zeke, just give me the ball.
Exactly. That's exactly, I think, how he talks. I mean,
I feel like he struggles to breathe.
I know. I feel like we talk about this every podcast. But
all the time.
It's just so funny.
Oh, man.
So, the Eagles also make two...
Dude, this guy, Malik Jackson, he is the greatest schemer in the NFL, bro.
Whoa. Slow your roll. Sam Bradford is the greatest scammer ever.
Dude, I'm thinking Malik Jackson's overtaken him because 2 years ago he got paid $88 million from the Jaguars, and 65 of that was guaranteed.
Yeah, I know.
Him. And then he just signed a $30 million contract with the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't really play last year. Like, his snaps
He lost his starting position.
Yeah.
He lost it.
His snaps, like, completely diminished.
Yeah, they strictly had him playing on third downs.
Well, they gave him that $30 million and that money because he's fresh. He hasn't played.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I couldn't believe that. So he goes to the Eagles, and the Eagles also go and trade for Deshaun Jackson. So he goes back to Philly.
Very good move, because now they don't need a receiver. They had a hole when Golden Tate was leaving. He's a free agent now. So D-Jax just steps in where he's comfortable.
Yep, and it gives them a deep option because they really don't have that. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey's good, but he's not going to burn any corners. Deshaun Jackson, even for 32 years old, is still dusting dudes. So I think it gives them a deep threat. You can throw Aguilar in the slot as long as they keep him around. And, I mean, who knows? They could go out and re-sign Golden Tate.
They could. But I don't think he's going to want to sign for such little money. I think he's looking to break the bank.
Yeah, but he's older, too. He's in his 30s, ain't he?
I think he is 30 on the dot.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know how much money. Maybe a shorter-term deal with more money, but to me, he's not. I mean, I wouldn't pay more than $10 million for Golden Tate, and that's a lot.
I think he's a perfect fit as a slot receiver on every single team.
He'll go to the Patriots.
They'll probably win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, probably. With actually, most likely gonna win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if that happens.
Yeah. So the 49ers get Quan Alexander. A lot of people.
I think this is a steal, man.
You think? See, a lot of people aren't happy with it. Basically because he had mixed reviews in Tampa. And I don't really. The only reason I don't like the signing is because I just feel like the 49ers are doing this stuff every year. Like, they're almost like the Redskins. Like, to me, the 49ers are not a team that's close to the playoffs. I still don't like Garoppolo. They don't have many guys to throw to offensively. I like Kittle.
That's about it, though.
Their defense is So to me, like, you're throwing all this money at a guy, and your team isn't there. Like,
I feel like once John Lynch took over, they gave away a lot of key guys, and despite his public figure, I'm a big fan of Reuben Foster. He definitely makes an impact on the field. I know he's not going to play much because he's getting suspended, but I think he will impact that Redskins defense eventually. And I think the Niners, they made a mistake getting rid of him too soon.
Well, and then
I know it's his third strike or whatever, but I really do think they should have held on to him. I know they had their past issues with Aldon Smith, but he's a total different story. That guy was yelling terroristic threats in an airport, so I would have got rid of him too. But they also got rid of Trent Brown. They traded him to the Patriots, and he's the best right tackle in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that makes sense. I don't know what John Lynch's end game is here, but you need to build from within. Like, you need to start inside and move out. So linebackers, linemen, that's where you need that triangle of the tackle box from the running back to the linebackers, that's where you win games.
So you like the move then?
I do. I think it's a steal because they got rid of Reuben Foster and they filled that void with Quan Alexander. Quan Alexander and Levante David in Tampa Bay were like a top linebacker combo, I think. I'm not saying they're the best, but not this past season because Alexander was out with an ACL injury, but the season before that, he was a tackling machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just look at Lynch and the 49ers haven't drafted well either.
And it doesn't. I don't understand what they're doing offensively because they brought Kyle Shanahan in to be that offensive guru, and they're not giving him the pieces to do that.
Well, and like I go back to the year 3 drafts ago when the 49ers took Solomon Thomas. Like, he's been a bust, and we've seen them drafting guys that just aren't panning out, and it's like, I think John Lynch, he was brought in to kind of turn that team around, and what are we getting on year 3 now? And to me, they've kind of regressed. Like, they seem to do well at the end when Garoppolo was playing and Garoppolo got hurt. I think if Garoppolo comes back healthy this year and they struggle, maybe he gets one more year, but I mean, that leash has got to be getting a little tight on him.
I would think they get rid of John Lynch before they get rid of Shanahan.
I agree.
Because the moves that are happening are definitely on John Lynch. They're not on Kyle Shanahan.
No, Shanahan's definitely not. I don't think he has any GM duties. I mean, if I'm Shanahan, I'm going to the front office and saying, give me pieces. Like, their best offensive signing last year was Jerick McKinnon, who didn't even play.
He didn't play. Well, he's going to come back this year. I think he's going to do pretty well.
You think? But, see, I think he's just Again, I don't think he's a guy he's not a game-changing player.
I don't think he's a game changer. He's not going to go out there and be like a 2006 Adrian Peterson. But he's an all-purpose back. He can do everything for you. He can run inside the tackles. He can receive the ball out of the backfield. He can do all that.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's probably a downgrade from Alvin Kamara. But that's who I compare his game to. That's like his style of play. He's not as good as Kamara, but that's his style of play.
Poor man's Kamara.
Yes. And there's a lot of rumblings going on that the Niners may get that piece that Kyle Shanahan wants.
In who?
Odell Beckham Jr.
I have seen this.
Now, who they're going to trade for that, I don't know. But that goes back to what I told you today. If the Giants trade Odell, they have to take a $35.5 million cap hit. That's going to wipe out everything for this season.
That's insane.
They shouldn't have signed him. If they wanted to trade him, they should have traded him last year when everybody wanted him. The Patriots were willing to give them their 2 first-round picks last season. You know who those 2 first-round picks were? Sony Michel and Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn was hurt, but he's going to be a stud at the lineman position. He's going to be an all-purpose lineman, whether it be tackle, guard, whatever you put him at. The Giants could have used that.
I don't know. The Giants are, another team, and that goes to the next on my list, Landon Collins. So we kind of touched on it. Landon Collins, he cashed in for sure. I want to know what the second best offer was because I feel like that offer was so high there was no one even close to that
No,
number.
no, I don't even know who was he. I know a lot of teams were interested, but 86, that's a lot.
Especially for, safety. I mean, safeties are important, but
Yeah.
they've kind of been at a position where it's almost like a revolving door as well.
Yeah, I think Landon Collins played at a position for the Giants. I don't think he's a safety. I think he's a middle linebacker because he struggles horrifically in the passing game. If you watch games and you break it down, he gets dusted by tight ends. And, he in practice, he's got Evan Ingram and Odell to go up against, and you think he'd get better, but he's regressed in the pass coverage. He's nothing more than a run support safety and a tackler. Don't get me wrong. Landon Collins was unbelievable for the Giants. I love him. And I'll always respect him for that. I'll always be a fan. But he's just not an all-around safety. If they moved him inside to linebacker, he would have been a success.
So why is it that if you think that the Giants had no intentions of moving him to a linebacker position, why does it hurt the Giants so much then? They did go out. Who did they sign? They just signed someone to.
They signed 95-year-old Antoine Bethea.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Deal. That is his replacement. Dude, they brought Gettleman in, a 70-year-old GM who was diagnosed with cancer. Probably doesn't have much time left on this earth. Hate saying that, but he's already 70. Luckily, he's in good health now, but he's 70 years old. You'd think you'd want to keep that young core of players together. They have broken down this entire roster and made it 10 years older.
Yeah.
Last year, Connor Barwin. This year, it's Antoine Bethea. What are they doing? They also signed Nate Solder, a 30-year-old left tackle that broke the bank for $65 million, the largest tackle contract ever, and he's 30.
Yeah.
Patriots didn't even offer him a contract. That should tell you something.
Well, and, I've been through this already. There's a good chunk of my life where the Bears were just nothing but a disappointment. And
now it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn. You have to suffer through it.
But you know what? I think I may be cheering on the crosstown team. I might be going all in on the Jets here.
And why not? Let's skip around on our list a little bit because the Jets.
They're making moves, man.
Yeah. I will say, Anthony Barr, you're scum.
Dude. I can't really fault him because he had the deal in place, and nothing's official until tomorrow at 4. We're recording on a Tuesday night. Tomorrow, Wednesday, at 4 p.m. is when all contracts are official. They offered him $500,000 more per season. So I would have taken that too. The Vikings are already an established organization. You know where they're at right now. They're a decent team. Yeah, Kirk Cousins struggled last year, but it's a new system for him. Who's not going to struggle, I would have taken the $500,000 more per season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault him for it. It's just, it's just a scummy move when you say you're going to.
The way it went down, yeah, I agree. Totally scummy.
Yeah, but someone offers me $500,000 more than what I'm making. I'm going to take it without a doubt. And to be in a better situation. I mean,
oh yeah.
Do I think the Jets
they're built to win now?
Yeah, the Jets, the Vikings
maybe, but we don't know yet.
To me, the Vikings are going to be Vikings Bears. I really don't see the Packers. I don't know. I think the Packers.
I don't know. The Packers made a lot of good moves today.
They made. I don't know about. They made a couple good moves.
Zadarius Smith is good. Amos, you're iffy on. You don't think he's worth the money. And Preston Smith from the Redskins. Those were needs that the Packers needed.
Yeah,
and
but
they filled while saving money.
They still don't have a great run game. And
they've been linked to Le'Veon Bell too.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen. And they also, I mean, don't get me wrong, Devontae Adams, again, top receiver in the NFL. But other than that, they have no one else. And Rodgers can't stay on the field, or when he does, he can't stay healthy.
That's very true. And it's not the lineman's fault either. You got David Bakhtiari, who's been the highest rated pass cover or pass blocker at left tackle for the last 3 seasons. And Brian Bulaga. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's the line's fault. It's the way Aaron Rodgers plays, because he likes to sit back there and hold on to the ball and run around. You're eventually going to get hurt.
And then whine that you got a roughing the passer.
It happens all the time.
Every game.
Yeah.
because he's a baby. Like I like Aaron Rodgers' game. He's entertaining to watch, and that's coming from a Bears fan. But he is such a wuss. Like I cannot stand it.
But the Packers, they will never stink. Their worst season is an 8-win season.
Oh yeah, but I think the Vikings and Bears could be 10-win teams.
Before Antonio Brown was traded to the Raiders, the Packers were trying to get him.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to get rid of their 2 first-round picks they have this year. But now they're also linked to Odell, so we will see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you can never count them out. And, just with Rodgers alone, they're a team that's, destined for at least 8 wins.
Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, along with Odell Beckham Jr. or an Antonio Brown, that is the Super Bowl team. They're going. You can cash that check right now.
If Rodgers stays healthy.
I would say even without... no, never mind.
Yeah, you'd be on crack if you said that.
Love you at Notre Dame, but whew. Man, he's bad.
So, still with the Jets, so that Anthony Barr obviously supposed to go to the Jets, didn't go to the Jets, but C.J. Mosley cashed in, great signing to pair him with Avery Williamson, right?
Yeah, him and Avery Williamson, that is the top tandem for middle linebackers in the league in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean...
That's my opinion.
Mosley is a stud, without a doubt. And, I have to say, the Ravens are... They're falling apart. All the
starting linebackers go. What are they doing?
And Weddle's gone now. Like, I know they cut him, but he's gone. So they just got Tony Jefferson. And, who's... First off,
Lamar... You said they cut Tony Jefferson?
No, they still have him. But,
I was gonna say.
And then they're sold on Lamar Jackson. No, first off, Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball. And 2, who's he going to throw it to? They don't have Michael Crabtree. They don't have John Brown.
John Brown left. He went to the Bills today.
So, who's he throwing to? Nobody.
Willie Snead.
So he's literally going to just run every play. That's all it's going to be. And
I don't know. I mean, the Ravens have been linked heavily to Le'Veon Bell, but I think that's the wrong signing for them.
Well,
They're
and if you
break the bank for him, and they don't have anybody else to throw to.
If you look at my tweet earlier too, I said, I get if Le'Veon Bell went to Baltimore, it's literally just a revenge story because they're not a playoff team. Like the Browns are the only good team in that division, in my honest opinion.
And they're only going to get better.
Yeah, and it's because they're young. They have a good base. They have a good line, good defensive line. Their defense as a whole is good.
Everybody was shocked when they cut Jamie Collins, but they instantly filled that hole with Olivier Vernon.
Yeah, and so the Ravens' defense from one of the best defenses last year to I think they're going to be horrible. Like I think the Ravens are going to be a team that I can see them winning 4 games. I
can see that too. I can see them being really good at the rush defense, like stopping the run, because their defensive line is the same. They still got Brandon Williams and what's the other guy's name? Drawing a blank, right? They're very good up front. Just the 3, because the 3 big boys in the front, they lock down everybody. But they've literally lost their entire linebacking core today.
And you can't forget Sizzle. He's gone.
Yeah, he went to the Cards, man.
Yeah.
He's going to be done. I don't know if he's going to make it the whole season. If he performs bad, I think they'll cut him.
Yeah, but he didn't play that bad last year.
No, yeah, he was a stud.
I just think, the Cardinals are another team. They're a long way away. And who knows what's going to happen.
I want to shoot to the Browns real quick because we've been talking about them here and there throughout this episode. They have Steve Wilkes as their defensive coordinator right now.
Yep.
He did phenomenal as a defensive coordinator for the Panthers. I think the Cardinals cut him way too soon. He is a awesome coach.
Well, the Cardinals are just stupid. They're gonna get rid of Rosen. They're gonna set themselves back another year at least because they're gonna draft Kyler Murray.
If they get a pick, though, if they get a first-round pick for Josh Rosen, do you really think they're offsetting that, though?
Do you think that Josh Rosen's worth a first-round pick?
If I'm a Giants fan, yeah.
No.
If I'm a Redskins fan, yeah. Because I think Josh Rosen is better than any of the quarterbacks in this draft. I really do. Other than Drew Lock, everybody else is a question mark.
I think Daniel Jones will be better.
But he could be, but we don't know. his strength of schedule wasn't there, really.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at Rosen's numbers last year, and they weren't good.
No, they weren't, mind you. But at the same time, he wasn't playing for an offensive coach. He was playing for a defensive guy, and you can't really. There's not a good relationship there for a rookie quarterback. Sam Bradford, he's not a good mentor. That guy's all about his cash. He don't care. He'll go out there and break a toe and be like, see you later,
He's like the Hamburglar of the NFL. He just stealing money.
You didn't see Sam Bradford on the sidelines after he got hurt. So who was there really grooming this kid?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not sold on Rosen. I mean, I feel like his football IQ is just garbage too. I mean, you don't have to be the best quarterback, right away as a rookie, but you have to have quarterback smarts at least. And I don't know. I just feel like I watched some of his games and some of his decisions and things like that. I don't know. Some things you just can't teach, and football smarts is one of them.
That's true. But also, I'm going to defend him one more time. In his defense, that offensive line is dreadful.
It is. I mean, look at how bad David Johnson's regressed.
Mm-hmm. He can't even step an inch forward, man. He's tackled in the backfield almost every play.
I mean, I agree. I don't know. I've never been sold on Rosen. As a freshman at UCLA, he was the talk of the freaking country. And, he's regressed every year since then. And a lot of people question that based on his commitment to football. How much does he really like it? And if you watch him play, it almost looks like he's kind of like, I don't really care,
But he in that manner, he just reminds me so much of Eli Manning.
Yeah, because that's true.
They always say that about Eli. He doesn't care. Look at him. They always say that, like, his facial expressions aren't there. His emotion isn't there. He's just calm.
His face is just stupid.
Everybody calls it the dumb face, but I don't know, man. I think him and Eli, I feel like, are the same guy.
It could be. I mean, I'm not gonna say I hate Rosen. Like, he's never done anything to me. But I don't know. I think that there's better options out there. So I don't think he's worth the first round pick. The earliest I would give him is a third, and that's being generous in my honest opinion.
We'll see. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna try to do something to get whatever they can for him. But
I'm the kind of guy, like, to me, Mitch Trubisky isn't worth Trubisky's got better numbers, but you take Trubisky out of that offense, he's terrible.
Yo, breaking news: Odell Beckham Jr. just got traded to the Browns.
No way.
Just right now.
You're lying.
Swear to God.
No way.
Yeah, man. It literally just popped up on my phone. For what? I can't even root for the Giants anymore. What is going on?
Dude, he just got paired with his best friend.
Dude, the Browns are winning the Super Bowl. That's it. They're winning the Super Bowl, man.
What did they get? They had to give up 2 first-rounders.
Gosh.
Yo, imagine fourth.
Antoine Bethea, man. Best player on the Giants right now.
Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah, I like Kevin Zeitler, though. He's cool. Oh, my. Odell to the
Wait till you see, like, the Giants trade Saquon Barkley.
Oh, I will cry. So, in other news, Kenny Vaccaro re-signed with the Titans. Dude, I can't believe this is happening right now.
I can't believe they traded him. I thought he would last one more year.
Dude, why would they? They had to have been blown away.
You said it was going to happen.
I did.
What's going on with the Giants Cleveland Browns connection?
Pat Shurmur.
Yeah.
He was the head coach there, man. Oh my God.
He's making the Browns better now than when he was a coach.
Right, and he's still the same crappy coach. What the hell?
Well, we got to move on, so you can drown in your tears while I speak.
I mean, it might be easy for you to move on, but the Giants just lost Odell. Oh my gosh.
I can't help but laugh. I could tell how upset you are. It's almost like when the Bears drafted Mitch, when you had that video.
Have you ever been unexpectedly kicked in the nuts?
Maybe.
That's how I feel right now.
Oh, man.
I feel like they're in my throat.
Do you have an Odell jersey?
I do not know, but I like Odell a lot.
Well, moving on. Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles, he cashed out big time, bro.
Yeah, 4 years.
100 million. No, I think it was 102.
Yeah,
102 million
for 4 years.
And like 80 of it was guaranteed or something like that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Napoleon Dynamite
in the senility, my man.
Napoleon Dynamite cashes in.
I forgot he looks just exactly like him.
Yeah, I mean, and Blake Bortles is obviously gone. They're cutting him tomorrow.
Yeah, they're releasing him.
Sucks. I've always liked Blake Bortles, but he cannot throw a football for his life, so not surprising. I think Nick Foles is going to be horrible, though, because it's going to be a totally different offense. They are a power run offense, and Nick Foles is at his worst when he's under center. And
yeah, he's terrible, dude. I'm pretty sure that Fisher's offense in St. Louis when they were there for the Rams is the exact same as Tom Coughlin's.
Well, yeah, and I mean, either they're going to have to change the offense, which I don't think would happen because every player on that team is going to have to learn a totally different offense. Plus, now it would void out Leonard Fournette. He's not fitting in any other offense. So they're going to go back to the power run offense. And Nick Foles is he's better out of the shotgun, quick passes, play action.
Happens, man.
And it's just not going to happen. So I think he's going to be god awful, and good for him. He's rich. He's really rich. Man. Yeah, they're trying to, again, another one of those moves that you kind of just squeak out something, and I mean, maybe it gets them a win or two more. I mean, they totally underperformed because their defense was horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, man. They have a good setup. They got good pieces. It's just bad apples in the locker room, I think.
I think they need more weapons, too, on offense.
Oh, yeah. They got rid of all the receivers last year. Coming into this season, the best receiver was Dante Moncrief.
Well, yeah, and I think he's done. He was on a 1 year.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
But, yeah, I mean, they don't have really any receivers. I think Keelan Cole is, okay, but he's not number one.
That's your boy.
That is my boy. He won me. Him and Blake Bortles won me my fantasy team 2 years ago. So,
you cheat.
No, but but Nick Foles. I don't know. I mean, good for him.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
Yeah, a guy that went from almost retiring to Super Bowl MVP to $100 million contract.
Dude, my thing is though, if these teams know they're gonna trade people or lose people in the offseason, why don't you trade them and get something back for them?
Yeah, but good thing the Eagles didn't trade him because they would have been stuck with Sudfeld at quarterback when Carson Wentz went down.
They didn't make Did they make the playoffs?
They beat the Bears.
Well, jeez. And they weren't going to win the Super Bowl, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, but they got farther because they had Foles. I mean, had they not had him...
what are they going to do now? They have no cap room, and to replace Nick Foles, Sudfeld's still there. Who are they going to draft? They don't have any picks.
I mean, well, now they put all their money on Wentz now. But at the time, you had Foles for basically nothing.
That's what I'm saying. They should have traded him for a first pick, which they were offered. Because Jason Peters isn't getting any younger.
Dude, they re-signed Jason Peters.
Why? The guy has played 6 games in the past 2 years.
And he played so poorly last year.
He got beat off the ball every time I watched them.
They re-signed him
the Giants.
to a 1-year deal.
I think that's just a locker room move, and to be a captain, I don't know. He should not be on the field. That guy is a mummy. He's wrapped up so tight.
Yeah, he looks like he should just be in a wheelchair. His legs look like they hurt so bad.
He's going to be one of those guys that struggles to walk when he's 60.
I wouldn't doubt it. He looks like it's painful to watch him play.
Yeah.
So other stuff, Tyrann Mathieu goes to the Chiefs.
Great pick.
I've always liked Tyrann Mathieu a lot, so I like the pick. The Chiefs, they've lost some pieces, but they got rid of Ford, right? D Ford.
No, they franchise tagged him.
Oh, sorry, it's Justin Houston. They got rid of Justin Houston.
Yeah, they cut him.
But other than that, they kind of got the same team around, young team. I really like Williams in the backfield. I think the Chiefs are going to be right back where they were last year. Maybe take a little step back. I don't think Mahomes will be as good, but I still think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to repeat a 50 touchdown year. Like, let's be honest. So
it's always going to be hard to perform up to that. Once you set that standard, man, everybody's going to see every season that you don't match that as a failure or a regression.
Exactly, but I still think they're going to be really good, probably win that division.
If you shore up their defense, there's no reason for them not to be able to beat the Patriots.
Well, I think they did. They took the first steps in that, too, by getting rid of their defensive coordinator. There's just no reason. Their defense is not that bad on paper to perform as poorly as they did.
The worst move they could have ever done was trade Marcus Peters. It started there.
I agree.
What they even get back from him? A third round, fourth round pick?
I don't know. I mean, and then they took Fuller from the Redskins when they wanted Smith to kind of replace him. But not that he's horrible, but he's not Peters, you know.
Yeah.
And then the Colts signed Devin Funches, so he's no longer a Panther. So who the hell the Panthers throwing the ball to?
They got
Moore,
Samuel, Chris Moore, and that's about it.
And
Pretty sure Greg Olson's retiring.
Greg Olson with 2 broken feet.
Yeah, I don't know. The Panthers are another one of those teams where like they don't like to rebuild; they just like to stock up what they have.
Yeah,
and they never really hit it right. They haven't had a receiver since Steve Smith left.
I agree, and I've always liked Cam Newton, but even he's battered. Like at this point, with how much Cam Newton gets hurt and his inconsistency, I can't talk today. You know, they need to start thinking about a quarterback situation as well.
You know.
I mean, I'm not saying like Cam Newton deserves to play, but you know,
they should at least have a quality backup for when he does go down.
Because it's bound to happen. I mean, he's had 2 shoulder surgeries.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've both had shoulder surgery. It is not an easy comeback.
No, especially for a position that you're consistently throwing.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
No, not at all. So, just some other things. Wait, do you like the Funches pick? The signing?
I mean, I knew the Colts weren't going to go in having the $106 million to spend. I knew they weren't going to blow their load. I get that because, they want to hit the draft, and they've been drafting very well lately. Their backfield could use Le'Veon Bell, but the trio they have is really good.
I agree.
They have Naheem Hines, Marlon Mack. Those 2 are a good 1-2. T.Y. Hilton, still clearly the number 1 there. He's still performing well. Andrew Luck's back to normal. Honestly, if he won MVP over Patrick Mahomes, which he wouldn't have, I would not have been upset about it.
Not at all.
Dude, he balled out last year.
He did.
And their defense was absolutely incredible. The Colts they're on the up and up. And if they continue to have this much money down the line, and they do see that generational player, probably like an Odell or something like that, like that's still young. I'm not saying Odell himself. I'm just saying somebody like him. And he's available, that's when you jump on it. But like I said earlier, the running back position now is just a turnstile, bro.
You mean the new Cleveland Browns wide receiver, Odell Beckham?
I didn't say the Giants. I just said Odell, man.
No, I know.
Kick me when I'm down.
I know. I had to bring it up again.
They didn't even announce what the trade was yet.
Who broke the news? Who broke it?
It just like popped up as a report on my thing. Hold on, I'll read it to you. I think NFL Network broke it. Details on OB. Giants get number 17 overall pick, the 3rd round pick in 29. And Jabril Peppers. All right, I'll take it. I will take that. All right, I'll take that. That's the kind of trade that you get.
So give us the details. All
right. So the Browns get, according to Adam Schefter, the Browns get Odell Beckham Jr. The Giants get the Cleveland Browns 2019 first-round pick, number 17 overall, and the 3rd-round pick, and Jabril Peppers.
All right. I mean,
that's not bad.
Do you like Jabril?
Struggled his rookie year, but he made some steps last year.
All right. I mean, hey, as long as you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm kind of happy with that. I'm okay with it. The return's fine. And Jabril, he's a hometown boy. He grew up in New Jersey, man. Played at Paramus. He'll do good. That's good. I like that. And you know what? That's a good replacement of Landon Collins.
And you got a better. I would say he's maybe not as good of a tackler, but he's a better athlete.
Better athlete. He can cover better. He's faster.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset with that. I like it.
All right, start.
Now Sterling Shepard got to step up. That's it.
Start printing the Jabril Peppers jerseys and give one to Luke.
Dude, you know what, bro? They got the 6th pick and the 17th pick. This draft is stacked. I'm pumped. I'm actually really excited.
Maybe they get DK Metcalf.
Oh, nah, they got him going to the Bills, bro. So if the Giants want him, they got to draft him at 6.
Yeah, draft him at 6, and then you come back and get a quarterback late. Like, get one of the quarterbacks that are left.
I don't want a quarterback this year. I don't.
You don't?
No, I want to wait until next year and get Jake Fromm from Georgia.
Okay, so they got a tank this year then.
They're going to tank regardless. Do you see their defense?
They got Jabril Peppers.
You know what? I could see them doing Dexter Lawrence at 17 because I think he's going to fall. And if Ed Oliver falls, pick him at 17 and an offensive lineman. If they do that, I'll be happy.
So you don't,
because that's building towards the next step.
So you don't want Metcalf then?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, free agency's not over. We'll see.
I still can't believe
they. The remaining receivers are?
No, I don't.
I'm gonna look it up. Let's see.
Let's get into some. While you're looking that up, just some last minute things. Kareem Jackson went to the Broncos.
Yep.
That's a good pickup. He was a really good player for the Texans. So I like that. We already talked about Mosley. We talked about Suggs. We talked about Vaccaro.
Bradley Roby left. He's leaving Denver. It was basically a trade.
Yeah.
He's going to Houston. He's replacing Kareem Jackson.
Yeah, so I mean, they got rid of one and picked up another. I just got the Odell alert, by the way.
Deion Buchanan's going to Tampa, reuniting with Bruce Arians.
Yep. This is a head scratcher that a lot of people didn't like. Jawan James goes to the Broncos. A lot of people did not like that pickup by the Broncos. Because Jawan.
I think it's bad. What is this? Oh, it was an update. Sorry.
Oh, Frank Gore. Frank Gore is ageless, my man.
The Iron Man, dude. All he needs is 592 yards or something like that to pass Barry Sanders. I'm glad he's still in the league.
Yeah, and he's still productive.
He is. And you know what? I can see him beating Shady McCoy out in Buffalo for the starting position.
Dude, I thought Shady would have been released or traded.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I thought he'd go back to Philly, honestly. Him and Deshaun. So
they were talking about it last year after Ajayi hurt his shoulder, but they just didn't have the resources that the Bills wanted. Which honestly was only receiver. I'm pretty sure all they wanted was Aguilar. That's it.
Which I would have gotten rid of him anyway.
Yeah, I don't like Aguilar. He's not that good.
No, I'm not a big fan. So yeah, Frank Gore is still in the league. And then to the Adrian Amos signing by the Packers. I'm not going to say Adrian Amos is bad, but I was talking to some people on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you would know. I don't think Adrian Amos is as good as what his numbers suggest. And the reason I'm saying that is because when you play on a team with a very good defense, now mind you, the Bears' defense has been very good for the last 2 years, and that's when Amos has, kind of made a name for himself. I think he is a benefit of the supporting cast, the people around him. And so, to me, you look at two things. Sacks can happen by pressure on a quarterback, or you got coverage sacks. And so, the Bears aren't a team that really force a lot of coverage sacks. They're all pass rush type sacks that they record. So they're constantly putting pressure on quarterbacks, not giving them the time to throw the ball. Hence, look at the Rams game, for example. They don't give you a lot of time to make a decision. So quarterbacks are hurrying up, making throws, and when that happens, the quarterback's either throwing the ball while they're getting hit, they're rushing and not making accurate throws, and because of that, turnovers are more prevalent. Fuller is a good cornerback, but I will say that a lot of his interceptions are due to quarterbacks forcing throws, and he can read it quick enough, and he knows. So he reads it, jumps the route, and picks it off. So I think that Amos's interceptions and, I think he's a good player, but I think that he's easily replaceable on the Bears defense.
Yeah, I think so too. And like you said, you already have Eddie Jackson, so Amos was really just a compliment to the environment.
I mean, I look at when Eddie Jackson went down, they put in I think it's Deion Bush, and he did fine. And same thing when Bryce Callahan went down, they put in Sherrick McManus, he did fine. And those guys aren't starters on most teams, but because that defense is so good and applies pressure to the quarterbacks, if you can cover a guy for the first 10 yards, you're good.
Yeah.
So, anything on that, or you're pretty set on that?
No, I'm pretty set on you. You convinced me that Amos ain't the best shit in the toilet, but
I'm glad. So this was a little surprising too. Teddy Bridgewater goes back to the Saints, but I like the move, and it was very classy.
It's just very head scratching for me because the Dolphins wanted him to be their starter, and he's like, it's not a good situation. I'm out. I'll wait for the Saints.
Yeah,
so that's what he's doing.
The Saints must have reassured him that, hey, when Breeze is gone, we want you to be the guy.
But I wouldn't promise him that because Taysom Hill is not bad.
Dude, I said the same thing. Did you watch him make that throw in the playoffs?
Yeah.
He looks just like Drew Brees.
The Giants single-handedly.
He throws just like Drew Brees.
Yeah.
It was insane. So
Dude, Taysom Hill's going to be great. And the Saints don't want to trade him, so that's why it's head-scratching for me. They also made another move. They signed Latavius Murray for 4 years, which ended, the former Heisman Trophy winner, Mark Ingram's time in New Orleans. And
it sucks because I liked the Ingram-Kamara chemistry. I mean, they really complemented each other well. Not many teams have that, two backs that can really play off each other well. Because most of the time it's a competition. And really there was no clear-cut number one back. Like, they each had their own packages, and, the Saints really used them well. I think it's going to be more the Kamara show. I think Murray is good, but I think Ingram's better. But they got Murray for nothing. Like 4 years, $14 million.
That's nothing.
So
and nowadays, that's nothing. I mean, you just saw Bobby Hart get $21 million over 3 seasons by the Bengals. That's probably the worst move I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that got an F by ESPN.
Bobby Hart was the right tackle for the Giants when Eric Flowers was the left tackle. That should just tell you how that goes.
Yeah, no need to even explain any more.
No. But I think Ingram's going to struggle a little bit finding a new home just because of his age. But just because he's 29, I don't think he's old because he struggled in the early part of his career and he lost his job to Pierre Thomas.
Yep.
So I think he's still got his legs under him, and I don't think teams should be scared to give him a shot. Like the Jets, if they don't get Le'Veon Bell, there you go. Poor man's Le'Veon Bell, Mark Ingram.
Well, and with splitting carries, he wasn't touching the ball 35 times a game.
Exactly. So he was kind of saved. He was always fresh. Other than being hurt, he's fresh.
And he missed 4 games for PEDs, so he didn't even play every game last year.
Yeah.
I like Mark Ingram. And then the last thing I have, the Bears signed Buster Skrine to replace Bryce Callahan. I'm iffy on that. I like Skrine for his durability more than anything. And
he didn't do too bad for the Jets last year. He was okay.
No, and Callahan never stayed on the field. He was good, but he couldn't stay healthy. So I like that. Tashawn Gibson goes to the Texans. So Texans got Roby and Gibson. And then Dante Fowler goes back to the Rams on a 1-year deal. Basically a prove-it deal. I think he's a bust, so we'll see.
Yeah, did you see this? I don't know if you read about the Steelers today. I know they're a complete dumpster fire, but they're still a very classy organization.
Oh, Shazier.
They're keeping Shazier on their roster, and they're paying the minimum salary of his contract so they can continue to give him his contractual benefits like insurance and his pension. So that's awesome.
I saw that earlier, and they did that last year too. I think eventually if he doesn't return to the field, which I think at this point we can all assume it's probably highly unlikely,
he says he wants to, but I think he'd be crazy to do it.
I think I could see him in like a front office role with that organization in some way, maybe like a mentor
role or something.
Yeah, like a mentor. I mean, I don't know what his football IQ is. I mean, maybe he's got a coaching future. I don't really know, but you had some extra notes that you want to add in, so I don't have the list. It didn't.
I just want Cole Beasley and John Brown to the Bills. I think that's a quietly good move.
Yep.
I mean, their receivers aren't that great. They have the Zay kid, Zay Jones.
Yep.
He's extremely fast. He's pretty tall, but he has nobody else to help him. Last year they had Kelvin Benjamin, but they had to trade him because he got fat and he was slow.
I thought they cut him.
They
cut
got
him.
him. They traded for him. I meant they got him from the Panthers and then they cut him.
Yep.
So I think Cole Beasley and John Brown take a little more pressure off of Zay Jones to let him go. And there's two. Who else is there? Robert Jones? No. Is it Robert Jones?
No.
I don't know. There's another receiver there that's that's pretty fast too. Also, dude, the Raiders, they're making all these moves, but I don't know how they're going to pay their players. They have all this cap space, but there's a report that came out that said they have very bad cash flow, so they don't know how they're going to pay these guys.
The Raiders
that's just the cherry on top of John Gruden's return to football.
Well, they didn't have a place to play up until 2 weeks ago.
They still don't have a place to play.
No, they do. They signed a deal with the Coliseum for 19.
I saw something that they're playing in Canada for a couple games too.
No, I think that they're in Oakland, or they're going to stay in Oakland for the year.
Crazy.
But yeah, the Raiders. Who the hell? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, John Gruden. One moment I'm like he's a genius. Another moment I'm like the Antonio Brown trade. You're like, wow, this is great. And then I don't know. I get Assembly was for cap space, but you got rid of a good lineman.
Yeah, Pro Bowl lineman. He back to back, man, 2 times.
What did you think of the Adam Humphries signing by the Titans?
I didn't even know they signed him. That's how much it tells you.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Humphries is he was maybe the 6th best option on the Buccaneers team last year.
Yeah.
He got a 4-year deal.
Yeah. Dude, he did snap for those 3 games, though, when everybody was hurt.
Yeah, he did.
He showed promise.
Any other notes?
Le'Veon Bell signing with a mystery team, just not announcing it.
Oh my God, if you follow us on Twitter,
we were in exchange for an entire hour.
Yeah, at from the 1 o'clock to the 2 o'clock hour, it was just hilarious. There was this guy making, fake Twitter accounts, and at one point he was Ian Rappaport, and it was hilarious. You had to kind of be in the moment to appreciate it, but
it was this guy. He would change who he was every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Once he was Ian Rappaport, then he was Adam Schefter. It was funny, man.
Yeah, it was a good time, and people were believing it, but people started to get real mad.
A lot of people were retweeting him, man. It was great.
Yeah, so still, even after our hour episode here, still no Le'Veon Bell news, but you did get breaking news on Bringing the Heat podcast. That might have been the first time. I wouldn't say we broke the news, but big news happened in the middle of.
Yeah, that's big news, man.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest news we've gotten on a live episode.
100%. That's definitely been the best news that's ever happened to us.
So, I mean, I don't know. Great day, great first day of free agency.
Great turn, man.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I felt like Devin Hester today on my return.
I like what you did there. He is the greatest return man of all time.
Oh, man. Dude, so now that the Browns have Odell Beckham Jr., this is their offense. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, Odell, Jarvis Landry, Antonio Callaway, who is probably going to be an incredible slot receiver, and David Njoku.
With a good offensive line.
Because Austin Corbett's stepping in for
Zeitler.
Dude, I don't know, man.
The Browns have solidified themselves as not only the favorite in that division, but an AFC favorite.
Yeah.
So with that, would you say the Browns are the most improved day after the first team or after the first day?
Yeah, and they're not done, man. They still got, I don't know how much cap comes off the books, but they were in the 80s. But they just picked up OV's $15 million, Vernon's $50 million, and Odell's $23. I think they still have some money left over.
Yeah, I would say that they're probably the most improved team. I think the Jets did a really good job on the first day.
It's definitely Browns and Jets, 1 and 2.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think that they both made really good moves. You know, the Jets kind of solidified the defense. I think, you know, they still have a shot at Le'Veon. So, from what I've read, they made a last ditch offer to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll see. I like what both those teams did. My thoughts on the Bears are I kind of figured this is how it would go. They're playing it quiet, but watch for them to make a big splash. I feel like they've done this before when they did it with Julius Peppers and they did it with Brandon Marshalls and Jay Cutler. So
well, the Giants made a secretly big splash today. You know,
would
very
you call
deceiving.
Would
Just
you call
last
it?
Week they were saying we didn't sign Odell to trade him, okay? And look what happened.
Would you call it a splash though?
A reverse splash, yeah.
Reverse, so a belly flop.
Yes, a belly flop.
If we're speaking in swimming terms.
Yeah, that wasn't a cannonball. That was definitely falling on your face off of the high diving board.
Oof, that sounds painful.
Yeah.
So that's it for the episode. That's it.
That's it for today, huh?
So first one with Luke back. It was a good one, episode 30. Those of you that listen, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it.
I know I haven't been around for a while, but I appreciate it. I'm so happy to be back. Looking forward to where we go from here.
Yeah, I mean, we've done so much since you've been gone. It's going to be nice to have you back. We're going to keep expanding. Make sure you retweet, subscribe, and favorite. We keep that saying. That saying's been around since we first started this. Also,
Yes.
go check out Thrive Fantasy. Download the app. Use the promo code Bring the Heat, and if you deposit $10, Thrive Fantasy will match that $10. So you'll have $20 to play with on the website, and it's all prop bets, so it's kind of fun. It's all different stuff. You don't have to worry about setting a lineup or anything like that. A lot of prop bets on there, so go check that out. And that's it.
Check it out.
Got anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, man, just go ahead. Check out the promo code. Use it. I know for sure after this I'm going to put $10 down and get my $10 back. They're going to match it, whatever. I'm excited.
Word. I can't wait till Thursday. Hopefully we got the interview, and it'll be a good time. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Peace out.
See you later.
We bop and hippity hop, I'm as happy as I can be. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and hippity hop, I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. I'm in love, I don't care. Yeah. We bop and hippity hop, I'm as happy as I can be. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom. Love is sweet, love is grand, works one. We bop and hippity hop, I'll never be a millionaire. Whoa, boom, boom, and hippity zoom.